All right, in case you missed it, this is what it looked like when the moon passed in front of the sun and blocked its light for a total solar eclipse. It was gorgeous. The eclipse passed over parts of Europe with some of the best views in Iceland and northern Spain. Now, despite the celestial event not being visible to most of the U.S., some areas like New England and the northern states did get a partial eclipse. I want to go live now to CBS News national weather correspondent Rob Marciano with one of the best seats in the house in Mallorca, Spain. Rob, mainland Spain hasn't seen a moment like this in 121 years. Can you paint a picture of what that moment was like and what it's like even being there?
Well, the anticipation of it really was everything, not just for the Mallorcans here on the island and the Spaniards that haven't seen one in their lifetime, but for the thousands of people that have traveled thousands of miles to come here and chase this eclipse. And we spent much of the afternoon with a large group of Americans that have done just that. And so many Americans have caught that eclipse bug because we've had not one but two total eclipses across much of the country in the last 10 years. So we've been very, very spoiled. And the excitement has kind of perpetuated across much of America. So we've got a lot of them here. So seeing that moment come through, we had some cloud cover that interrupted some of the right edge of totality, but you could see distinctly the shadow of the moon come across the sky and the Mediterranean Sea and sweep from north to south as it did so, and the edge of the backside of it as well. And then what's the most remarkable part of this one, being in the spot that we're in the Mediterranean, you got to see the eclipsing sun set into the sea, which,
wow.
And when I asked an expert earlier, has that ever happened before? It's never been really documented. I'm sure it's happened, but not where people can see it. So that was truly special, and watching that happen is something that I'll never forget, and the folks that have come to witness this will never forget either. And speaking to the Americans that have traveled thousands of miles to get here, not one of them was disappointed by some of the clouds that came and interrupted at least part of totality. But we had 90 seconds of it, and the first half of it, we got to see some of the rings and some of Bailey's bees, and then the back half of it and that sun setting was certainly something that we'll never forget.
So, Rob, I know you understand all the science behind a total solar eclipse, but actually witnessing it, does everybody go silent? Is it eerie? Is it cold? Describe kind of what the sights and sounds of what it's actually like to be there.
Yeah, it's a good question. Regardless of how much cloud cover you do or don't have, it gets darker and it gets cooler and it gets quieter, not just because people are getting quiet witnessing it, but the crickets and the birds that you've heard chirping up until that point don't know what to do. They get quiet. I didn't see many birds flying around in chaos like I've seen at other eclipses, but there was certainly silence. And there was silence amongst the cliffs here and the lower beaches of Mallorca during totality. I think in some cases this hope and anticipation that it would break through some of the cloud cover that was interrupting a little bit of it. But yeah, it gets eerily quiet, and then when it goes dark and you feel the coolness of now that sun's solar radiation being cut off by the moon, that is something that is nothing short of spiritual and something that you feel within your soul. And can only be witnessed firsthand. And there's a difference between totality and 99% totality. Having it be total, you experience that darkness, you experience the cool air, and you experience the shadow and witness it coming across the landscape. And that's something that's really hard to put into words. And the scientists that I've come to talk to over the years about this, when I ask them, they all of a sudden lose the scientific vernacular and go into something that's more spiritual, and that's more about the humanity of it all and the communal experience, because watching it in a group is the way to do it, because we're all cheering for the same thing. We're all witnessing the one thing that keeps us all alive on this earth, and that is the sun. And watching the sun, moon, and earth interplay is what's special.
Oh, you got one of the coolest assignments, I think, ever, Rob. I'm so grateful that we got to talk to you in Mallorca. Thanks so much for describing that. And we got to watch it on TV, but it's different when you're there. So thanks for bringing us that. All right, I want to bring in, we talked about the Americans that were flocking to Europe to chase this incredible moment. Well, Eclipse superfan Brian Gold from Los Angeles was there. Brian, you've seen more than a dozen eclipses and even proposed and got married during an eclipse. You are a super fan on a whole nother level, my friend. For those who have not seen an eclipse in person, what about this? What is it about this experience that really hooks you in, that you can't stop going to all of them?
Well, once you see it, it's quite something. You're in the vortex and it's otherworldly. It's like being on another planet. The sun goes away, the birds start coming back, roosting, everything gets quiet, it gets dark, it gets cooler, clouds start forming, it goosebumps, and you see visual effects on the ground. You see sharper shadows. You see sometimes there's a whole bunch of things you see. When the final moment of this, where the sun is completely gone, you get this diamond ray and a corona that explodes behind the moon like that. And you see naked eye. You can see the solar flares. It's quite something, and then it's just pure magic for the world stops for a minute and a half, and all you can see is your jaw drops, and you get very tickled, and some people cry, and some people scream, and all the mixed emotions that happen, and then it comes back out, and the world is reborn. It's a new beginning. It's really something.
Wow.
We've traveled. This is our 13th eclipse. We've traveled all over to see this happened from less than a minute. We were in Australia for a 58-second eclipse, all the way to the 4-minute eclipse that we got married in Hawaii during. And then next year we're going to Egypt to see a 6-minute eclipse. That's like 3 eclipses in one. It's a 3-fer.
That's amazing. I was going to ask you if you're going to. We should mention that you're at the airport right now in Spain. Is that right?
We are in Mallorca at Palma Airport, and our flight's delayed, and so I get to talk to you.
Oh, lucky us. Okay, so you're going to go to Egypt, and then I'm assuming you're probably going to try to make it to Australia is that 2028? Is that the next one?
We're 27 or 28. I think it's during 28 because we're thinking we're going to be in LA during the Olympics. So we're going to miss that one.
Okay. Oh, well, at least you'll be in Egypt. So how does this one that you just saw an hour or so ago, how does this eclipse compare to the other ones you've seen?
This was an extremely dark one where the corona was yellow because it was at the sunset level, just above the ocean. And instead of it blooming like it normally does, it was this yellow glow that happened behind it. And then it got wispy as the clouds formed in front of it. The corona, my wife and I were talking, Teresa was mentioning how the corona was smaller than normal. And it sort of got clouded out. We got to see pretty much the entire event, but when the sun came back out, you could see all the clouds in front, and it was a little bit different than normal. It's always a rush to see the shadow leave at 650 miles an hour across the ocean. That was something else and always interesting.
Amazing, amazing. Do you have any tips for others who may be wanting to go and do this eclipse tourism like yourself?
I highly recommend to anyone who's never done it before to at least do it once. Then if you don't get hooked, well, at least you can say you did it once. But most of us who've seen it once can't wait to see the next one. It's something else. Yeah, you got to. This is one of the things you get to do here on Earth in this lifetime. And if you're lucky, you can do it several times. And we just hit 40 minutes of shadow time. So we continue to see it and never get tired of it. It's always different. We meet people. Today, we were the first people at our eclipse site. And when totality happened, there were hundreds of people around us, everyone going, "You picked the spot." And we're like, yeah, we got here really early before they closed the roads to get to see this over the ocean and share it with all these people and new friends. We met 5 people from a family from England, and he's a journalist, and he interviewed me. It was really hilarious. It was
brings
something
everybody
else
together. Brian Gold, thank you so much for sharing your experience, and safe
Thank you.
travels.
Thank you very much. Thanks.